Hey, what's going on, guys? This is another Romani campaign video, and this one's going to showcase the Marian Reforms and how to get them. So I have a bit more information about the Chameleon Reforms. Apparently, they were implemented because the Romans used to use the phalanx type of formation, but after their many wars with the Samnites, they decided to copy the Samnite tactics, and they also got destroyed by the Gauls. So they switched over to a more mobile and fluid formation with the manipular formation, I believe, after their defeats against the Gauls. And then these reforms, we're going to be going from the plebeian to the Marian reforms. This would be implemented by Gaius Marius around 108 BC. It's kind of funny because my reforms are happening around 107 BC. It took me like 40 years in game to finish to get a general that was that fulfilled the requirements. That's like 400 turns, end turn, end turn. You wouldn't believe how annoying that is, but once you get it, it's great. Okay, so this is the guy. There's an FAQ on the main website if you need to, or on the main forum. You can just search that Europa Barbarorum FAQ, and it'll show you all the traits you need to get the Marian Reforms. So there are three reforms for the Romans. There's the Chameleon to the plebeian reforms, and then there's the plebeian to the Marian reforms, and the Marian to the Augustan reforms. Now the main difference between the Marians and the Augustan reforms is that it was Augustus who actually fully professionalized fully professionalized the Roman army. And Marius,
General!
what he did was he took a lot of concepts brought in by generals before him, like Scipio Africanus, because reforms don't happen instantly. Like, it's not just one person that will reform a whole army to change it. Army reforms happen over time. So really, all Marius really did was formalize the process and also allow a greater recruitment from all the Roman provinces, because that's really what Marius did. It wasn't really, in terms of military formation, it wasn't really that big of a difference. The biggest difference was the area of recruitment, where you could recruit outside of Italy, and also the baggage that the soldiers had to carry. That's why his soldiers were called Marius's mules, because they had to carry a lot of their own equipment, and that really decreased the baggage train a lot, and helped to make his army a bit more mobile. Yeah, as I was saying before, it was mostly the generals before him that implemented a lot of the reforms that you see that are often attributed to Gaius Marius. So in a ways, he's a bit overrated, but you can't discount his contributions to the Roman army. All right, so this is gonna be my Marian pretender. What he needs to be is sharp, charismatic, vigorous. You need to make sure that you have 45 settlements. Alright, he needs to be part of the Popularis party in the Senate, or the Popularis party, let's just say that. Let's see. Where'd he go? Oh yeah. So there are two parties in the Senate. There's the Popularis party, and then there's the Optimas. The Optimas were usually patricians who were favored the old ways and keeping stuff inside, keeping Roman citizenship inside Italy, whereas the Popularis like to have citizens, we're happy to grant citizenship outside of Italy for in turn sorry. They were happy to grant citizenship outside of Italy in return for favor from the public and the mob. Okay. So to get Popularis is actually a real pain. Usually what I do is that temples of seers. Let's see, where is it? Here it is. Temples of seers, they usually give out Popularis trait. So what I usually do is I just destroy the building and then build it again. Yeah, and then I built it again, and if I have a general in there who hasn't chosen their party in the Senate yet, I just keep them there, and you just keep building new temples all the time. New temples, new temples, new temples. Eventually, one of your generals will get the Popularis trait, and hopefully it's a good general, because he also needs to be a consul, which is kind of hard to get to. So once you have a Popularis trait, you try to work on him to make him become a consul, which I made this guy become. He needs to progress up the cursus honorum, which is the the ladder of political offices in the Roman system. So I think it goes from Tribus Militum, then to let's see, Tribus Militum to Quaestor, and then to, well, to other stuff like Praetor, and then like Tribunus Plebis, or a Tribune of the Plebs, Plebeian Aedile, and then yeah, Praetor, Quaestor, and then eventually after Praetorship comes Consul. And as you know, there are only 2 consuls. In this game you can't model that though. You can't model just 2 consuls, so anyone can become a consul as long as they progress up the ladder of the political offices. Also, something to note is that this guy's a plebeian, a pleb. He's basically from the lower order, whereas a lot of my other generals are patricians. Let's see this guy. He's a pleb as well. Dirty pleb. Okay, this guy's a pleb. I have a lot of plebeian generals. I think it's because I was working so hard to try to get a popularis general.
Imperator.
This guy. Is he a patrician? Yeah, he's a patrician. And I think he's an Optimus as well. Well, it doesn't. He hasn't chosen a side yet. Okay, so it's much easier for a pleb to become a popularis general. I mean, to become popularis. For obvious reasons. Obviously, he wants support from the masses, whereas the patricians would rather go for the Optimus because they're quite happy with ruling their oligarchy in Rome. They don't want to spread out. They don't want to give citizenship to people outside of Rome.
General.
Okay, we're just going to end turn, and so we can show you the reforms. And, yep, so he needs to become a consul, and once he becomes a consul, popularis, more than 3-star command, more than like 6 influence or something, then he can get the Reformata trait. The Germans and the Gauls are still invading me. It's quite annoying. May as well give you a little geographical update. I've taken over all of Spain, Carthage, Greece, and most of Anatolia. Indeed. Okay. Check out the faction announcements. So here it is. Reformata. Reformator. Potential Reformator. There he is. Series of laws that allow the proletariat to join his reorganized Roman army. In return for years of military service, every soldier will be given land as a kind of pension. This is passed in the People's Assembly without the approval of the Senate. So you can see that Gaius Marius would have had a lot of enemies in the Senate. But he's using the power of the People's Assembly, which is elected by the masses, to pass those laws. Okay, we're going to end turn again. I do not have time to deal with you today, boys.
Disengage.
Usually what happens is that my field armies just... These are just armies to slow him down, because I don't really care about these people. If I don't have field armies out there slowing him down, then they just come siege me, and then they die on my walls. It's really quite annoying, and because I'm playing very hard difficulty on the campaign map, there's a never-ending horde of units coming. Eventually, it took me like a really long time to get here. As I think I said before, 40 turns. No, 40 years. That's like 400 turns. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Ooh, what do we have here? The enormous expansion of our res publica has caused massive changes within our society. The conscripts are in steady decline. So now we have to recruit people from outside of Italy. So yeah, you can start recruiting people like really far away. The area recruitment just blows up. Let's take a look at the units. Here we go. Vigiles. Cohorts Reformata. It's the first cohort. Evocata. These are like veteran units. If you've seen HBO's Rome, you'll remember the part where what's his name? Jeez, I've forgotten his name. There's Titus Pillow, and then there's Oh jeez, I've forgotten his name. Anyways, he becomes Evocata. And these are Antisignani. These are like elite legionaries who are fighting in a more light manner. There's not too much evidence to back up these units. Apparently they're in some of the ancient sources, but people don't really know what they look like or what role they fulfilled. So I guess the EB team decided to just make them light troops. They do, however, have more armor than a regular legionary. And this is because they have the armor cuirass, the bronze armor cuirass, and bronze armor is actually stronger than Roman iron, or the iron on the chainmail, because steel wouldn't be invented for a couple hundred years, as I think I already said this in my other videos. So bronze was at the height of its making, and iron was still very, very weak, but it was much cheaper to make. So yeah, bronze armor is stronger but more expensive and harder to mass produce. All right, these are my plebeian armies that are about to be phased out.
Sir!
I think I'm going to send them all back to Italy to
Sir!
retire in peace. That's what I usually like to do. I like to roleplay these things. With the new reforms, I just send my guys back to Italy and give them some tracts of land. Let them die in peace instead of dying in a horrible battle. Alright. So my next video is going to be the invasion of Crete. Come on. Alright, see these guys? Be invading these guys with my Marian Reform armies, my cohorts Reformata. So stay tuned for another video. See you guys next time.